Imagine if you could tap into the same creative energy that drives the universe. What if I told you that you already can? That the spark of creativity isn't just reserved for artists, musicians, or writers, but is a fundamental part of who you are as a human being. This is the groundbreaking perspective offered by legendary music producer Rick Rubin in his book, The Creative Act: A Way of Being. And it's what we're diving into today on CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. Welcome, leaders, innovators, and creative minds. I'm your host, and today we're exploring a book that challenges everything you thought you knew about creativity. Whether you're a CEO looking to innovate in your industry, an entrepreneur seeking fresh ideas, or simply someone who wants to infuse more creativity into your daily life, this episode is for you. Rick Rubin, known for his transformative work with artists ranging from Johnny Cash to Jay-Z, isn't just sharing tips and tricks for making art. He's offering a new way of seeing the world and your place in it. A way that recognizes creativity not as something you do, but as something you are. Let's start by addressing a question that might be on your mind right now. When was the last time you considered yourself truly creative? If you're struggling to come up with an answer, you're not alone. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that creativity is the domain of a select few, those we label as artists or creatives. But Rubin challenges this notion head-on. He argues that creativity is not limited to traditional arts. It's in our daily actions and thoughts. Think about it. Every time you solve a problem at work, come up with a new strategy, or even decide what to cook for dinner, you're engaging in a creative act. You're bringing something into existence that didn't exist before. This perspective shift is crucial because it opens up a world of possibilities. If creativity isn't some rare gift bestowed upon a chosen few, but rather an innate human trait, then we all have the potential to tap into it more fully. It's not about becoming an artist in the traditional sense, but about recognizing and cultivating the creativity that already exists in your everyday life. So how do we do this? Rubin suggests starting with awareness. He writes, "To create is to bring something into existence that wasn't there before. The first step is noticing." This brings us to our next key insight, the power of deep observation of the world around and within us. Let's try a quick exercise. I want you to close your eyes for the next 30 seconds and try to notice everything you can hear. Don't judge or analyze, just observe. Ready? Go ahead and pause if you need to. Welcome back. What did you notice? Perhaps you heard the hum of your computer, the distant sound of traffic, or your own breath. Maybe you became aware of sounds you hadn't noticed before, even though they've been there all along. This simple exercise demonstrates the power of awareness. When we truly pay attention, we open ourselves up to a wealth of information and inspiration that we might otherwise miss. This is the fuel for creativity. Rubin encourages us to apply this level of awareness not just to our external environment, but to our inner world as well. Our thoughts, feelings, memories, and even our dreams are rich sources of creative material. By tuning into these internal experiences, we can tap into a wellspring of unique ideas and perspectives. But how do we translate this awareness into practical creativity in our daily lives and work? Here are a few exercises you might try. 1. Spend 5 minutes each day observing your surroundings in detail. Notice colors, textures, sounds, and smells. Make mental notes or, better yet, write them down. 2. Practice active listening in your conversations. Instead of thinking about what you'll say next, really focus on understanding the other person's perspective. 3. Keep a dream journal. Write down your dreams as soon as you wake up, before they fade from memory. Even if they seem nonsensical, they can provide unexpected inspiration. 4. Take a different route to work or change up your routine in small ways. New experiences can spark fresh ideas and perspectives. By incorporating these practices into your daily life, you're training your mind to be more observant and open to creative possibilities. Remember, creativity isn't about grand gestures or masterpieces. It's about seeing the world in new ways and bringing those insights into your work and life. Now, as we cultivate this awareness and start to tap into our creative potential, we're likely to encounter an obstacle that plagues even the most accomplished creatives: self-doubt. This brings us to our next key insight from Rubin's book, the idea that imperfections and self-doubt can actually be sources of creative strength. To illustrate this point, let me tell you about the Japanese art of kintsugi. This is a centuries-old practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. Instead of trying to hide the cracks, kintsugi artists highlight them, turning the repaired piece into something even more beautiful and valuable than the original. This art form embodies a profound philosophy, that our flaws and imperfections can be sources of beauty and strength rather than weaknesses to be hidden. Rubin applies this same principle to the creative process. He argues that self-doubt, far from being an obstacle to creativity, can actually be a valuable tool. It keeps us questioning, refining, and improving our work. It prevents us from becoming complacent or arrogant. In essence, self-doubt is a sign that we care deeply about what we're creating. Similarly, our perceived imperfections, whether they're quirks of personality, unconventional ways of thinking, or unique life experiences, are what make our creative contributions unique and valuable. Think about some of the most innovative companies or groundbreaking artists. Often their success comes not from conforming to norms, but from embracing what makes them different. So how can we apply this in our own lives and work? Here are a few strategies. 1. Reframe your self-doubt. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're not good enough, view it as a sign that you care about your work and want to improve. 2. Embrace your quirks. What are the things that make you different from others in your field? How can you lean into these differences to bring a fresh perspective? 3. Practice vulnerability. Share your ideas, even if they're not fully formed. Often it's in the process of explaining our thoughts to others that we refine and improve them. 4. Celebrate your failures. Each failure is a learning opportunity and a step towards success. Keep a failure resume where you document what you've learned from each setback. By reframing our relationship with imperfection and self-doubt, we can transform them from obstacles into catalysts for creativity and innovation. Now, let's shift our focus to 2 final key insights from Rubin's book: the power of intention and the collaborative nature of creativity. To explore these concepts, I want to start with a question. What's the difference between a urinal and a piece of art? This might sound like the setup for a joke, but it's actually a reference to one of the most famous and controversial artworks of the 20th century. In 1917, artist Marcel Duchamp submitted a porcelain urinal to an art exhibition, signed it with a pseudonym, and titled it Fountain. This seemingly simple act challenged fundamental assumptions about what constitutes art and sparked debates that continue to this day. What transformed this everyday object into a groundbreaking work of art? According to Rubin, it was intention. Duchamp's deliberate choice to present the urinal as art, combined with his intention to challenge artistic conventions, gave the piece its power and meaning. This example illustrates a crucial point about creativity: the power of intention. Rubin argues that intention is the core energy that gives creative work its impact. It's not just about what we create, but why we create it. Our intentions shape our creative choices, guide our process, and ultimately determine the effect our work has on others. For leaders and innovators, this insight is particularly valuable. It suggests that before diving into any creative endeavor, whether it's developing a new product, reimagining a business process, or crafting a company vision, we should first clarify our intentions. What impact do we want to have? What change do we want to create? These intentions will then guide our creative decisions and infuse our work with purpose and meaning. But intention isn't the only force shaping our creative work. Rubin also emphasizes that all creativity is inherently collaborative. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, don't we often think of creativity as a solitary pursuit? The lone artist in their studio, the inventor tinkering away in their workshop. Rubin challenges this notion. He argues that even when we create alone, we're collaborating with the past, building on the work of those who came before us. With our environment, drawing inspiration from the world around us. With our tools, which shape what we can create. With our audience, real or imagined, and even with different aspects of ourselves. Think about it. When a CEO develops a new business strategy, they're building on their education and experience, collaborating with their team, responding to market conditions, using various analytical tools, and considering the needs and reactions of stakeholders. It's a deeply collaborative process, even if the final decision comes from one person. Understanding creativity as a collaborative process can be liberating. It takes the pressure off the idea of having to generate completely original ideas out of thin air. Instead, it encourages us to be open to influences, to seek out diverse perspectives, and to recognize the value of the creative ecosystem we're part of. So how can we apply these insights about intention and collaboration in our own creative processes? Here are a few strategies. 1. Before starting any project, take time to clarify your intentions. What do you hope to achieve? Why is this important? How do you want your work to impact others? 2. Seek out diverse influences. Read widely, engage with people from different backgrounds, expose yourself to new ideas and experiences. These all become part of your creative toolkit. 3. Recognize and honor your influences. Who are the thinkers, leaders, or creators who have shaped your approach? How can you build on their work while adding your own unique perspective? 4. Collaborate actively. Seek out feedback, brainstorm with others, and be open to unexpected sources of inspiration. 5. Pay attention to your tools and environment. How do they shape what you create? How can you optimize them to support your creative process? By cultivating clear intentions and embracing the collaborative nature of creativity, we can infuse our work with greater purpose and tap into a richer well of ideas and inspiration. As we wrap up our exploration of Rick Rubin's The Creative Act, A Way of Being, let's recap the key insights we've discussed. First, we recognize that creativity is not limited to traditional arts. It's a fundamental human trait that we all possess and use daily. By acknowledging this, we open ourselves up to seeing creative opportunities in all aspects of our lives and work. Second, we explored the power of awareness and deep observation. By truly paying attention to the world around us and within us, we can tap into a wealth of inspiration and ideas. Third, we learned to reframe our relationship with imperfection and self-doubt, seeing them not as obstacles, but as potential sources of creative strength and uniqueness. Finally, we discussed the importance of intention in giving our creative work power and meaning, and we recognize the inherently collaborative nature of all creative acts. These insights offer a new way of approaching creativity, not as a rare gift or a specific set of skills, but as a way of being in the world. It's about cultivating awareness, embracing our unique perspectives, setting clear intentions, and recognizing our place in a larger creative ecosystem. So, what's your next step? I encourage you to choose one of the strategies we've discussed and commit to implementing it in your life this week. Maybe you'll start a daily observation practice, or perhaps you'll take time to clarify your intentions for an upcoming project. Whatever you choose, remember that you're not starting from scratch. You're tapping into a creative potential that's always been there. And remember, the insights we've shared today are just the beginning. To fully explore Rick Rubin's transformative ideas on creativity, I encourage you to dive into The Creative Act, A Way of Being for yourself. You'll find a link to purchase the book or audiobook in this episode's description. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of creativity. Until next time, keep observing, keep questioning, and keep creating. The world is waiting for your unique contribution.